Hello everyone, it's Fridays with Father. It's October the 8th and I've got Jonah here, and as you can see he's being very affectionate. Well, at least, I tell myself he's being very affectionate. The reason why he's wanting to lick me or give me kisses is because I've just applied some chapstick to my lips. And he likes he likes the taste. He likes the taste of this. It's Burt's Bees, and it's got like eucalyptus or mint in it. So he kind of likes that. He's always been like that. So every time I put it on, suddenly he becomes very affectionate. And I used to think it was because because he loves me so much. But what he really loves is the chapstick. But that's dogs for you, right? I'll take what I can get. Put it that way. Anyway, Ed, I'm happy to be here with you. Just a couple of items I wanted to share, really, things which occurred to me this past week, really. The first thing I was going to mention, today is just a little insight I've had before, and I probably shared it with you before, but it's always worth repeating. And it's about prayer, and it's basically a Carmelite sense of spirituality, really, which I see increasingly in my own way of praying, seems to mirror kind of that kind of path. But it came to me, I think, as I spend time before the Blessed Sacrament in prayer. I do that, a couple of times a day. Or when I need, a little bit of inspiration, or just need a few moments peace, a bit of a rest. But it occurred to me as I was sitting before Jesus the other day, the notion of Carmelite spirituality, that if we think of our lives, our souls, as a great big bowl, a great big glass bowl, imagine that. And in that bowl is like, everything, your work, your health, all your relationships, all the problems, and, all the gifts and the talents that God has given you. And if you think of your life in that way, the tendency generally, you see, or maybe the natural tendency in prayer is to be able to want to offer that bowl, to God, as an offering. And I suppose in some ways we do so at the altar when we take up the gifts, even though we're not doing it right now because of COVID. But we offer our lives, if you like, in its entirety to God, at the altar. That's our natural tendency and inclination. However, Carmelite spirituality, and this is what I find fascinating, adds a spin on that, really, which kind of speaks more to me, is that we lift up that bowl, which is our lives, to God as an offering. But really what we're doing is that we're actually lifting up that bowl so that Jesus can fill it, so that God can fill it, and which is a reminder to me of that, like, we give what we have to God, but it's God that fills us, not the other way around. God who gives to us, not us giving to God. And I think that's where my prayer is at this time in my life, is that, I come into God's presence, and I go and sit down before Jesus, and I come before Jesus so that Jesus can fill me, can give me what I need to get through my day, to get through my year, to get through my week. So it's less about me coming before God and saying, I give you my everything, which of course I try to do, mentally and what have you. I'm actually coming into God's presence so that God may give me everything. In other words, that the Carmelite basic kind of tenet of spirituality is that it's all gift. It all comes from God. Even my instinct to go and pray, to be with Jesus is, it all comes from God, not the other way around. Okay, so when you think also too, as I mentioned, the offertory procession, or the gifts, the presentation of the gifts at Mass, which we have suspended at the moment because of COVID, but it'll be reintroduced at some stage, is that we take up the bread and the wine, and by doing so, it symbolizes us giving ourselves to God. But when it gets taken to the altar, but it's given back to us. You know what I mean? It's given back to us in the form of the body and blood of Jesus, so that, everything we give, gets returned to us better and more abundantly. So, it's like, I can't give anything to God, because even the act of giving actually comes from God. That God alone is the source of grace. God alone is a source of everything that I do, which is good in life. So I offer that to you today. But just for me, always that image of like holding the bowl up. This is my life, and I'm holding it up to give it to God. But actually, I'm holding it up so that God will fill the bowl. And there are days when you need that, right, more than others. There are days when you feel more empty than others. And what I find is that when I come before Jesus feeling empty, I always leave, fuller. I always leave with something more that I didn't have before. And so that's why I'm a big believer in prayer before Jesus in the Blessed Sacrament, because by spending time before him, he fills you up. He gives you what you need. So that's my little prayer reflection for today, and it's kind of based on the understanding of Carmelite spirituality, which I identify with more and more, I think, as I get older. So I just bring that to you today. The second little pointer is kind of like dissatisfied with the fact that last weekend the weather did not cooperate and we were unable to have our outdoor celebration of Mass for the season of creation. And that was very disappointing, really. We were waiting all day Saturday thinking, will it rain, won't it rain, will it rain, will it not rain? And just at the time, just at the moment when the people involved were going to set it all up and get ready, that's when the heavens opened. And it was like God was saying, not today, not today. And as you saw last Saturday evening, it rained so much. It was like a deluge here. So the following day, the Sunday, when we planned to do the Spanish Mass outside as well, it was humid and the grass was muddy, and we weren't sure if it was going to rain, and the sun came out and it was steamy. Anyway, we abandoned it for this year, but we will try again, and we will certainly try again at this time next year to recognize in some ways the season of creation, the God in everything around us, and it's all a gift, all a gift. And I think the one little insight I had from that was, it was Saturday evening at Mass, and, it was chucking it down outside with rain. It was so wet and what have you. And it kind of reminded me, that God is in control, and that God is in the rain, and God is in the sun. We decided that we wanted the Mass outside, that we wanted to do that, but God had other plans. And God said through the rains, not today, Jeremy, try another time. Okay, so it's as we've said, before, if you want to make God laugh, make plans. If you want to make God laugh, make plans. So we made plans, and God was having a good old laugh. Maybe he laughed so much he was in tears, and that's what we had, which, drenched our soil and drenched our gardens this last weekend. Anyway, we needed the rain, that was for sure, so things are looking nice and green. But I just wanted to mention that, that because it seems like a number of you like the idea of having Mass outside, and I do too, especially when it's not too hot. And it would have been ideal this last, in recent times. So we will try again next year for the season of creation to have a Mass outside, if God says it's okay. All right, okay. And my final point for today is it's October, and soon, as you know, the days go fast, soon it will be the month of November. Yes. And as you all know, the month of November in the Catholic Church is the month of the Holy Souls. All right? And so throughout the whole of November, we want to remember our dead. We want to pray for our dead, and also to remember our own mortality, and to do that with faith. So, on the 2nd of November is the Day of All Souls. And there will be Mass on that day in English and in Spanish, as in usual. And the usual procedures will be in place, and we read out the names who have died, etc., etc. However, this year, we want to do something just a little bit extra special. And that's why I'm asking you now in advance, in preparation for that. We would like to have this year an online virtual altar of the dead. Now, when I say altar of the dead, it's a big Hispanic tradition, especially in Mexico, really, that during the month of November, but especially on the 2nd of November of All Souls, to build a little altar and to place pictures of our dead and offerings for the dead. And it's a nice little custom to do. It's a lovely little thing to do. But this year, we would like to do an online virtual altar of the dead. And we would like you to be involved in that. And what we would like you to do is to send us pictures of your deceased loved ones. They don't have to be recently deceased. They can be from, your family from the past. You don't have to be parishioners of here to get to be a part of the altar of the dead. What we want to do is, in some ways, honor the deceased, really prayerfully during the month of November. And we'd like to have an online virtual altar of the dead, altar of the deceased, altar of the Holy Souls for you to participate in. So what I'm asking you to do is, please, if you can email me or email the parish pictures. If you have trouble with the email stuff, you can drop in hard copies of the pictures and we will scan them and give them back to you. And then what we will do is on November the 2nd, and then for the rest of the month, we'll have this online altar of the dead available to you to view, to pray with, and to allow God to bring you comfort, because there is sadness in losing people. But I think the important point about talking about the Holy Souls and the deceased is that by honoring the dead, we are honoring life, because by honoring the dead, we are recognizing that in Jesus there is life, that there is eternity. And we trust and pray that all of our dead are now in eternity and with Jesus and at peace. So we want to honor our dead so as to honor life. All right, so that's what we'll be doing during the month of November. And I'm giving you a big heads up now so you can send in all your pics. You can send them all in and we'll put them together, wherever you're from. I know there's some people from Italy, some people from Wales, you can send them all in and then we'll put it all up in like a slideshow format so you can play it and you can see, in some ways the breadth of God's love, the breadth of God's life. That is in us and in our families and in those who've gone before us. And it's all become that way because of the gift of faith, the faith which you and I share. Okay, so I'll leave you with that thought, that little challenge. I'll be really disappointed if I only get 3 pictures. If I only get 3 pictures, then, I'll know that it wasn't a good idea. But I think this is a good idea. We will be honoring the dead in our usual way, and most especially at Mass. but we'd like to do something special online this year. So please help me to do that in this way by sending us the pictures of your loved ones, and we will put them together in a lovely, lovely tribute to our dead. But by honoring the dead, remember, we are honoring life in Jesus. Okay, I will love you and leave you, and I'll be seeing you at Mass this weekend, please God. In the meantime, be joyful. Keep the faith. Bye-bye.